acts you're doing at the location.
It's a classy dumpster.
I don't think they exist.
One of them high class ones. It's like new. It's one of those blue ones. It's really nice.
This one gets caviar in it, not French fries.
It used to have a non-broken lid. I don't know what happened to it.
You broke it.
I did.
Keeping it classy. Oh, here comes the Crumb Patrol.
Come on!
I had to blow the crumbs off my keyboard. Oh, the fat.
That's what she said.
My hair is starting to grow into Karen hair. Or Justin Bieber, one of the two.
I love how sensitive people have gotten online where they don't see obvious jokes.
Oh my god, can't deal with it.
Like this guy's talking about this Graham Hancock, who is just a pseudoscience archaeologist, and he points it out. So I made a reference to Stargate, and he's like, "Well, if you want to live in fantasy world."
That is very offensive to ancient Egyptian aliens.
Not everybody gets your nerd references.
Okay, if you don't get Stargate references, I don't even know why we're around.
I think I've seen it, but I can't remember it. What's it about?
Stargate?
Yeah.
Shut up.
No, it's basically the all the theories of ancient aliens with Egyptians and stuff is actually true. And then they started attacking.
It wasn't a movie?
Wait,
no,
it's
it
not
wasn't
true?
It was a movie.
Kurt Russell.
I think I've seen it.
Series.
It was a good movie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. I just don't remember.
What's Stargate
man,
about? It's about Stargate.
So then Angie jumps on here. Remember, Angie had said she was going to be cooking pancakes and talks about how good her pancakes were.
Run, I'm hungry.
I'm fat. It doesn't
Pancakes
take
aren't
much.
code for something, is it?
Oh. It's not code for gummies.
What's up, everybody? It is Monday.
What up, though?
It is 9 o'clock. We got a show to do today. I don't know if you
I like
guys are aware of that,
I like
but
how
we're
we
about
let
to do
Andrew
a little
believe that
show
he's
that we do
starting
every
the
Monday.
show.
What?
I was saying I like how we let you believe that you're starting the show when we've been talking this entire time.
I don't get to hear what you're saying because
Probably a good thing.
It's the and friends part of the show.
So we know that you can't hear what we're saying, and that's why it's the best.
Everyone else can hear you though. It's annoying. This portion of show brought to you by Bears Auto Detail. If you need your car detail starting at just $20, they have a special deal for listeners. So just tell them Andrew Z. Tell me you want the Andrew Z special, and they'll hook you up. Lufka, all natural skincare and household cleaners, reusable household products, natural toothpaste, body scrubs, lotions, essential oils, so much more. Lufgall Naturals, Country Charm Shops in Perrysburg. Glick Electrical provides services to both commercial and residential clients. Their services range from installing simple light fixtures to installing generators at factories. They do it all to provide you the service you deserve. Call today, Glick Electrical Services. And New Power. Oh, it's funny, hey, Gina, huh? It's hysterical. Hysterical when I miss a word.
Cracking on you is my favorite thing ever in life. I don't know what I did before I met you. I must have been so bored.
New Power Property Services. They take care of apartments, houses, businesses, restaurants, rental properties, all of it. They'll take care of it. Cleaning and disinfecting. Check them out on Facebook for more details. Let's start this thing.
And now, our feature presentation. This is Ed McMahon. And now, here's Andrew.
Andrew Z. I love that Andrew Z. I said Andrew Z. In the morning, it's time
to wake up.
Andrew Z. In the morning, yeah.
Come on. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Picture.
It is Monday, June 22nd. Oh, shoot. All right, here. I should have done that a long time ago. Monday, June 22nd, 2020, in the year of our Lord. Welcome to it. We got a big show for you. Chris Tiefel.
I have a point of order to bring up before we get into the show here. Last week, you all were very cruel to me for my references to things like Dennis the Menace because they were apparently old.
During the intro,
and yet, we have not addressed Andrew's bumper music that introduces the show that uses Ed McMahon.
So Tiefel decided to use the opening time so no one else gets introductions. So there you go.
God damn it, Tiefel.
Yeah. By the way, we got Sugar, Gina, and Jake. Boom, done. Why does it take you so long? I don't know.
Wow, it's going to be one of those nights.
You're in rare
It's
form.
going to be one of those nights.
He is sassy tonight, guys.
Oh my God.
It's going to be a sassy Tiefel night.
So I'm in the we call, I guess if you're using this room, if you're using this house properly that I'm at, or if I'm using my house properly, this would be the formal dining room, which is where we've turned into the studio.
How do you use a house improperly?
Right.
Like, what do you do to that house?
Right before we went on the air, like 60 seconds before, a skunk just went right by our window, just scampered right past the window. A skunk.
Oh my!
Yes. Did you guys find it? No, they didn't find it. I told the kids, go find
They're
that
looking
skunk.
for the skunk?
I told the kids, go look at.
Hope you got some tomato juice.
Right? What are you even doing with your life right now?
What do you mean?
They have to come in the house eventually.
Well, in case you don't know, we haven't had all the kids in like 3 months. It's like the first time.
So your plan is to get all the disasters out of the way now
And
that you
fix
missed
the
out
picture.
on.
Get them all gone, taken care of. All right, so I wanted to talk about hold on, what did I want to talk about? I wrote it down. That's why.
The picture. Did you get that?
What picture?
What are you eating now,
We
Gina?
got a video ice cream.
God, do you
Oh
ever,
my
video.
God!
Do you ever
You're making me so hungry.
ever stop
It's
eating
This is my dinner, asswipe.
at
This
9
is low
o'clock?
carb too.
At 9 o'clock
Yeah.
at night?
I was busy.
It's low carb too. That's why she has 3 of them.
She's catch those carbs up. Yeah, that's not the way it works, Gina. You don't eat more to make up for the carbs because you're doing low carb.
It's one, you guys. It's one.
Okay.
Yeah, we
She
thought it
carbo
was
loads
one
at the end of the day.
sandwich, too.
All right, so a ton of stuff to do today. You got it? A ton of stuff. Now I just gotta
Oh
find
my
it.
gosh. I told you the picture was not working. And that's because I had it paused. I'm so slow.
I like how this is the one of the few times that Andrews actually did show prep and send us notes ahead of time, and he's still vamping trying to find the notes now.
I know.
Well, we're still derailing. Angie, it is it's a Breyer's Carb Smart.
Oh, Andrew, what in the world kind of shirt are you wearing? Can we talk about that? Are those clouds, or is that like an '80s pattern? What's
That's like
happening
the
here?
retired
Cotton
New
candy.
Jersey cop living in Florida shirt.
They're geckos.
You're You're such a weirdo.
Except on him, they're,
This part of the show brought to you by Geico Insurance.
They're Komodo dragons on him.
except on him, they're dinosaurs.
Oh my god.
You look like you own a bait shop.
Shut up. Why? What are you talking about? You guys are, you guys are rude. You guys are just mean people. You were just mean people. That's what you are.
If it was a bait shop, it'd be a master shop for sure.
Jesus Christ.
Let's talk
I'm
about,
just eating my ice cream. I don't care.
all right, so we're going to talk. Let's talk a little bit about this cancel culture. That's what I want to start with today. Is the cancel culture.
Is this about how we haven't been canceled yet?
Right?
Listen.
Some things need to be canceled.
Let's start with NASCAR. I have to say kudos to NASCAR, first of all, because they have really stepped up. And for those who don't know the story, Bubba, I don't know what Bubba's last name is, but Bubba, he's the only black full-time driver in NASCAR. Which is ironic. The one black dude, his nickname is Bubba. So he's the only black full-time dude in NASCAR. There was a noose found in his workspace over the weekend. Now, the weird thing is that you can't even get in there. Like, regular people can't get into this area. It's only drivers, pit crews, employees of NASCAR. So it's kind of a limited area. But what NASCAR did today was Bubba got in a car and they all just walked the track with him, walking behind him. All the crew. It was really an amazing sight.
Aw, that's sweet.
It was really cool to see. And I can't remember what we were talking about last week, but Tiefel said it, that you really have to give props to those who really have a financial interest. Like, you're really putting financial interest above yourself. And I can't remember what he was talking about, but it's definitely
Companies who are actually like doing things
Yeah,
genuinely
but there
instead of to act like they are.
Right, but there was an exact example.
Aunt Jemima,
It was
Quaker Oats.
No, it wasn't
Rebranding.
it was somebody else, but yeah, they were completely changing their branding, logo, name, everything.
Yeah, but it was probably successful before. But NASCAR, they have banned the Confederate flag, which is, I mean, dude, everyone there, I mean, that's going
Somebody flew a Confederate banner over the last race, like you get those planes around the Mudhead Stadium with the ads. That's what they did with a Confederate
Oh my
banner.
God. Oh my Jesus.
They love their Confederate flag. So NASCAR really took a stand to against most of their fans, I'm guessing, and they've done it because it was just the right thing to do. And then to find this noose, and then to go out there and everyone completely walk with and support Bubba. That's another look. If there's someone that can make a difference in this racist culture that we live in, there's so much racism. I mean, it's NASCAR stepping up. I mean, because those are the people that you have to get to. So if they've taken to go against their audience, against the people that spend their money, and actually take a stand, that is a huge step in the right direction for them in my eyes. They get a huge kudos. Go ahead, Jake. What were you going to say?
Remember a couple months ago when the NASCAR driver Kyle Larson got in trouble doing the video game racing, dropping the N-bomb on live.
Yeah.
He's gone back to dirt track racing since then, and he won the first 7 races that he raced in the season.
Really?
Yeah. He apparently, this guy is on fire in the dirt track racing.
I mean, okay.
Well, that's like going down to the minors, though, right? I mean, you were doing well in the.
Well, apparently that was what got him to NASCAR anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he won 7 races. He's already up to $192 in prize winnings.
What?
In prize winnings, which is
No zeros after that? Just 192.
$192.
He got a
Minus
trophy.
expenses.
But yeah,
Full trophy.
they had to take his family went to the races. They had to deduct the ticket cost for the family, but it was 192 before all that. So he's doing really well there in the dirt track races.
So his name is Bubba Wallace.
Oh.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Okay.
And you know, I have to say this, it was a really nice gesture, and he got his car, they all followed him around, but you know, somewhere in that crowd following him was the one that put the freaking noose in there.
Right, I know.
Like
Unless somebody like snuck in. Like I know it's allegedly it's like a super, maybe there was like a freaking like ninja.
Yeah,
like
could-
a
I wonder
NASCAR
if it
ninja.
was
The NASCAR ninja!
I wonder if this event was a trap to see who did show up, and then those are the people they focus on.
right. Hey,
Like, oh, all of a sudden you're sick, and you can't go to the support walk?
There's
Racist!
no Tyler or Chad here. Where's Tyler and Chad?
we,
This is like the NASCAR Clue edition. It was the mechanic in the garage with the rope.
Oh!
where's Larry, Daryl, and Daryl? Why aren't they here? Something's going on. Something's going on. Go ahead, Jake.
No, I said it already.
Sorry. Okay, so NASCAR, anyway, big props to them. The other thing I want to say is there's breaking news now that just came out a little while ago. Jimmy Kimmel used the N-word back in 1996, impersonated comic George Wallace in 2013. So I
Statute of limitations.
I guess there's two different times that Jimmy Kimmel has,
Is this including his blackface or are these like new things?
these are new things. New things.
Yeah. And those aren't like, you didn't say like 1995. What were the dates? Like 2007 or something?
No, 96 and 23. Here's the one from 96.
Yeah, it's me, the D.O.G. When about the baby double G.O.D. Back in the day, in the Bethlehem hood. That was all good. You know this family was holy moly. The Virgin Mary was roly poly. Bringing gifts for baby boo in the
I feel like I'm not allowed to listen to this.
It's actually very funny. It was on a Christmas album for a radio show that he was part of back in the day. And the N word is so now the one that's worked up really is Fox News sent it out as a breaking news alert. They hate Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel is so hard on the president. They hate Jimmy Kimmel. So this was a perfect example. But is it? Do we cancel Jimmy Kimmel? Like I don't know. When is it too far? Go ahead, Sugar.
Well, first of all, there's a whole conversation to be had about cancel culture and how toxic it is. But I think that if we're going to be genuine people and not hypocrites, you have to have the same consequences for someone on the left when they do the exact same thing as someone on the right, and the consequences that you would demand for them. Because otherwise it's completely hypocritical.
But are we demanding, if someone said the N-word 20 years ago, or 25 years ago, are we demanding that?
I mean, like Roseanne didn't say the N-word. She like made that stupid joke on Twitter, and the most successful show in America was pulled. So
but she did it in 2018. She didn't do it 25 years ago. It happened today.
No, I thought you said one of them was 2013 or something.
I'm talking about
He impersonated George Wallace in 2013.
Yeah. Go ahead, Gina.
So I think and I'm speaking from my white perspective. So
White privilege.
That's all I got. I do think we need to allow room for growth, because there are people that have taken a turn, and they grew up a certain way. They grew up with racist parents. I have a friend of mine. Their name is Jay. They had they were very racist back in the day, and they've come a long way now. To actually fighting for Black Lives Matter, and they've been at almost every protest, and so there has to be some allowance for growth, I think. So 25 years ago, I don't know if I'd cancel somebody for something that happened 25 years ago.
Well, here's another example. If you look at the Me Too movement of a couple of years ago, it's only been 2, 3, 4 years or whatever. There's things that I did before that if you were to pull, you would be like, oh, this dude did this, but you're using it against the post Me Too world.
It was the law 25 years ago to not be rapey. So that's different. It's different.
To not what?
What?
Not be rapey.
Oh,
like I don't know what. It depends on what you're talking about. Give me context.
There's old people. There's people that have said things. You got to remember, the Me Too movement is, hey, you can't say honey, you can't say sweetheart, you can't do this. There's a lot of things that you can't do.
No.
You can't be like,
You
you can't be like, oh, nice game.
The only canceling that's happened from the Me Too unit or Me Too movement has been sexual assault.
That's not true.
Right.
Nobody's been canceled because they said, hey, dollface 25 years ago.
No, that's there's people that have been canceled for standards that were post Me Too of things they did prior to Me Too.
Yeah, sexual assault.
No, it's not just sexual assault.
So give us an example of somebody that was canceled for something other than sexual assault or harassment.
I mean, I just said, like, an old guy or something saying something inappropriate to a woman.
You're saying that there have been people that have been canceled. You should
want
have
to know
specific
who,
examples.
because there hasn't been.
It absolutely has been. There's no
Everybody
doubt about
that has been canceled publicly is somebody who was accused of rape, accused of sexual harassment, accused of inappropriate behavior.
Well, but sexual harassment now is, hey, pull your pants. I'm going to pull my pants down and expose yourself. Well, that's not sexual assault, but that's definitely a canceling it after Me Too. But it wasn't canceled.
That's sexual harassment.
There are a lot of people that got away with that stuff before.
Pulling your pants down and whipping your dick out is not, honey.
What?
Is not calling somebody doll face. Like, that's sexual harassment legally. That's illegal. You cannot whip your penis out.
There are CEOs that were still in their job before Me Too that have. I don't understand why this is some sort of debate.
Like,
it's so weird.
Because what you're saying is not right. Louis C.K. whipped his penis out in front of people. He gets canceled because that's sexual harassment.
But he did it for
20 years.
but he
tell
did it
him
for
ahead
20
of time
years.
or something?
Go ahead. What, Sugar?
Didn't he tell him ahead of time, like, oh, I'm going to whip my dick out, and then he did?
If you tell somebody ahead of time, it's not okay. But what like if they're, unless they're like, oh yes, please whip your penis out, I want to see it, then it's harassment and assault and a sexual assault.
Go ahead, Jake.
That's how it goes.
So what about
I'm raising my
2006 Justin Timberlake's "Dick in a Box"? The song where he basically says, "Hey, put your junk in the box," and then he opens it up for everyone to see his junk. Should he be canceled over that?
That was
Did he
obviously
do it?
satire.
Yes, but I mean, but somebody's arguing the fact that Jimmy Kimmel was singing along to lyrics.
No, I don't think he should be canceled. I would not argue that at all. I don't think 25 years ago.
We're going after Andrew for him trying to compare people being canceled for sexual assault over over whether or not canceling people over singing along to a song on a CD. And not censoring himself when the N-word came up.
Yeah, they're very different things. Very different.
Culture-wise, I just completely disagree that they are totally different. Go ahead, Sugar.
So kind of moving it along, but still talking about cancel culture.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this is kind of what we have been expressing well. I really think that you cannot look at the lens of, you can't look at history, you can't look at the past through the lens of the current day. And that applies now with Black Lives Matter and Me Too, but that applies 20 years ago if you're talking about looking in the past then. You can't look at history without saying, for the time, this person was very progressive or very conservative. For example, I mean, the founding fathers, all of them, anyone who lived in that time, basically, through today's eyes, would be a terrible person. But maybe at the time that they lived, they were the most liberal person in the world with the most radically liberal ideas. You
actually read my mind. Like, you look at Benjamin Franklin, who I think had slaves, but also invented electricity. Does that make him a horrible person that we just need to cancel? Well, the times were different. I think that we have to just
acknowledge that he did these things that by today's standards are absolutely unacceptable. Mm-hmm. But by the standards of the past, it wouldn't even enter your mind that maybe it's not right.
And it's kind of what I'm saying is we are judging people from even 20 years ago or 40. I mean, the culture's continuing to evolve, and we're judging people by today's historic people by today's standard. And we're saying what horrible people they were, but we weren't there back then. And again, we don't know what it was like in that era. It was a different time. We had different ways that we thought of things. Go ahead, Gina.
So can we just all agree that owning humans in any capacity makes a shitty person? In any capacity, at any point in time in the entire history, owning another human or believing you have the right to own a human is disgusting.
Back then, I don't know. I mean, I can't say that for sure. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, hold on. Let me finish that point real quick, Tifo. It's fine if we want to acknowledge that, back then, whatever. But that doesn't mean that we should have statues immortalizing these people that were horrible people. And it doesn't by any standard. Just like with the rape thing. It's not okay to whip your dick out now. It wasn't okay to whip your dick out 100 years ago. It was not okay. Just because it was more accepted back then doesn't make it acceptable that they did that. That's still a rapey person, no matter how you look at it.
They had to pee outside a lot of times, so they had no choice but to whip it out.
Yeah, they kind of did. There weren't
I
bathrooms
can't
back
stand
then.
you guys.
Go ahead, Tiefel.
All right, so this argument's been coming up a lot lately, obviously, because the Black Lives Matter people are like, you can't judge yesterday by today's standards. As far as slavery is concerned, you can. There were abolitionists and abolitionist groups as far back as the 1300s. They knew it was wrong. They had the same morals in relation to slavery as we did. People just ignored them for money.
But that may be true, but then it also comes.
It's not maybe. It's 100% fact.
You don't know. You don't know how if
they had abolitionist groups, which means they knew it was wrong.
The abolitionists did. That doesn't mean everybody did. That's ridiculous. You can't take one group and then say the whole human race had the same thoughts because they didn't.
You had people. They knew it was wrong. As a society, they knew it was wrong. Otherwise, the abolitionist groups wouldn't even exist.
The abolitionists could have been ahead of their time. You're being ridiculous. They could have been ahead of that. We don't know. We weren't back there then.
And it wasn't even ahead of their time.
How do you know? Like, you don't even know.
When slavery existed here, in the States, other countries were ending their slavery, were ending their slave trade because they knew it was wrong. They were taking moral stances. As a society, as a global society, as human beings.
There was no global society back then.
Go ahead, Jake.
Well, if you're a person who's writing a document that's going to go down as one of the most important documents in history, where you write the words, all men are created equal, but that person owns slaves, like he probably had an idea that he wasn't thinking that all men were created, just white men.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and then, like I said, do you negate everything they did? Does it make them an evil person or an evil thing that they did?
Just an evil thing that they did.
It's an evil thing that they did, but there's no reason to immortalize these people. That those statues can be taken off a taxpayer and public property and put in museums, and they're still in history books. We're still acknowledging.
Yeah,
to me, the whole monument thing, the statue thing,
we should just get rid.
Confederate stuff, get rid of it. But maybe leave the Thomas Jefferson statue up.
I don't know, statues in general. I mean, it's 2020, dude.
They're pretty creepy.
Yeah, I'm
save them for museums. They just don't need to be on public land at all.
Want to see creepy? Let me find this one that's in Spain.
No.
All right. So, anyway, this brings me to this other one, Monette's. It all started because there's a lot of moving parts right now. But Monette's on Reynolds, and it's ironic that the dude that owns Monette's is in trouble for sharing one of my wife's posts, which is super odd.
I did not know that.
Am I the only one that didn't know that Monette's were all individually owned?
Well, no, I don't think a lot of people didn't know it until today. Okay, so Gina, do you want to talk about Monette's?
Well, I am just now learning that it was one of your wife's posts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's new too.
She posted here. I think I can find it real quick.
Oh, God. Oh yeah, but okay, I see. But here's the thing about it is that Colleen's posting of it was the opposite of what the wife was saying.
Right.
So Colleen posted a picture of a black woman with a sign that says, "Not all blacks are criminals, not all whites are racist, not all police are bad." Like that. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but she's holding up a sign, and this lady, Jessica Monette, reshared it, and it says, "Man, this says it all to me with your all lives matter and Black Lives Matter and privilege this and privilege that having asses." Now, that wouldn't be so terrible on its own. I mean, it's still kind of like a cock your head, like what? But she had shared another status before that said, if you post about white privilege, that white privilege crap, defriend me, blah, 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 and a bunch of other things. So if you take that one post out of context, it doesn't really make sense.
Well, I gotta ask, what are the other things? Because I haven't dug into this. But so like the two posts that you read, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's kind of weird. Like, oh, you're not supposed to say that either. But I don't think either one of them equals a canceling. Am I missing something? Something else happened?
Well, go ahead. What?
I can read some if you want.
Yeah. Well, get to more. The husband has the same thoughts, and he's posted some stuff as well.
Right. So back, because it's on the same screenshot, I'm gonna talk about the wife, Jessica. There was an article, WTOL said, celebrate Black fathers at a community-free event on Father's Day, and she said, WTF, LOL, this world, man. Which is like, what is the problem with that?
Right.
So now when you put it into context with all of the, and first of all, yeah, well, when you put it into context with all the other ones, her husband, John, says, a lot of BLM and white privilege crap coming across my Facebook right now. If you are this person, please delete me. I do not need to hear your bull crap. Well, we've been saying it the whole time anyway, right? You are the problem. When I look at Mr. Floyd's situation, it is a police issue. That cop is a murderer. But now y'all are BLM this and white privilege that. It ain't right. White people, do you think black people are ashamed to be black? Nope. Stop treating them like you owe them something because you're white, which the grammar is atrocious in this. I just have to point that out. It's insulting to both sides. Want to fix the real problem. Take these politicians that teach this crap out of office, because that's not where it comes from anyway, John. Please don't comment. I don't need your opinion. If you disagree, delete me. So that's the big one there. That's probably the worst one.
What about the target practice comment?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. There's another one too.
There was one where he says they were talking about defunding the police. He goes, "Yeah, defund the police. That just means open target practice or something."
Daddy needs some target practice
or something like that. Yeah.
When you say do you think black people aren't proud of being black? Nope. Whatever he said. I don't remember now. But they're very. And then she posted a whole video of an incident that happened in the store where a black woman leaned on the counter and the employee wiped the counter behind her, but hadn't done that with anybody else. So the lady said, like, what was that about? And then got into it with the Jessica girl. And she was, so this is I am making some speculations here, but she was, when a white person tries to talk black, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's what she was like doing in this video.
Denny in his early stand-up career.
In this terrible, like, black voice that she was trying to do. And it's pretty awful. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. And I know Sugar, it looks very skeptical.
Yeah, because honestly, it had to be explained because there was a lot of little things that makes him an asshole. But I don't know if it makes them racist, canceled, never shop there again. But a lot of people are outraged. So, and I'm white, so I mean, I guess
there's a lot of microaggressions in there.
Thank you. Microaggressions. There you go.
And when you take it all in as a whole, instead of each individual post, and you take it as a whole, they are very clearly anti-Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
And
it makes them an asshole, but does it make them?
Oh, look who's here!
Oh, hello. So, we bring in a perfect person for this conversation to continue. Charles Welch, realtor and a black activist as well. Black Lives Matter. He's a supporter of that as well, and he's a good friend of mine, a good friend of the show's. And Charlie, we're talking about the Monettes thing. It looks to white people, maybe it's a lot of little things, but people are really outraged. Are they outraged at just the stuff that Monettes did, or is it just the time now that they've done it and people are like, dude, we're not taking any of that crap anymore? Oh, you got to take yourself off mute. You got it.
I joined safely, so I don't. You never know what's going to happen in the background around here. Look, man, it's zero tolerance policy. That's all it is to it. You can't be an ass. Well, you have to take it back. You can be an ass all you want to be, but there's things that are going to happen when you're an ass.
Consequences.
And you can't say and do the things that gentleman, that person, and the young lady said and did. You can't do those things without there being consequences or repercussions, as they say. And the bottom line is, he cannot benefit. First of all, he cannot stay in business. He cannot benefit in any way from anyone else. He just can't. It's that simple. I don't care. He cannot directly. I'm not going to that store. And if for some reason all right, fine. If he gets a part of the other stores and whatever like that, then I'm not going there either. He cannot get a dime of anyone's money, period.
I guess especially when you're in a lower income area where there is a higher higher residents of African Americans.
He's really trying to be diplomatic with this.
No, not really, not really. No, just a higher population. That's where it is. Like, higher population of African Americans in that area. So that really makes it a dumb. It's just a dumb business move too.
I mean, but you know what? And the thing is, you can't hide stupid. Stupid finds its way to the surface every single time. So you can't hide. Look, I've been stupid and it's come to the surface. Andrew, you've been stupid and it's come to the surface. And this guy is he's an idiot. He's a moron. He's a bigot. And you can't say things like, Daddy needs ready for target practice and have it just blow over. No, man, you gotta go. Period.
Well, then let me ask you this. Then you brought up a great point. You've done stupid stuff. I've done stupid stuff. Is
a lot of stupid stuff.
I think the breaking news was he apologized.
That's like the cornerstone of her personality.
The breaking news was he apologized. Is there any room for apology in this stuff?
No. And let me just say this. I don't know if you read his apology earlier or
no, I didn't.
I apologize for being late. But he said in the Blade, I quote, "I would like to sincerely apologize to everyone that saw the message." First of all, you're only mad that people saw it. Mm-hmm. You're not mad that you said it. And it's proof that you're not mad. He said, once I reread it and realized how out of line it was, I would never say anything. First of all, why did you have to reread target practice to realize that was out of line? Why did you have to reread everything that you said to realize it was out of line? You're an asshole when you said it. And you knew that. You have to reread that and try to. If you're that dumb that someone has to tell you that you're being a bigot and a racist and you're being violent towards a group of people, then you shouldn't be in business anyway.
Well, and here's what made it worse to me is that the strong statement from the other stores. Like, this is Monette's Glendale. So this guy owns Monette's Reynolds, and they're saying that a different member of the family owns each location, and that they don't cross-pollinate as far as finances. That's the line that they're staying with. But here's what they said. Listen to this. Monette's on Market on Glendale. We would like the community to know that Monette's Market on Glendale is separately owned and operated from other Monette's on Reynolds and Secor, and all the comments made by different stores do not reflect the thoughts and opinions of the owner at this location. We may wish that we had control over their thoughts and actions, but unfortunately we do not. Our nation is in a fragile state, and we believe that it is important now more than ever to remain unified. We continue to be here for our community, and we'll continue to respect and value each other, everyone. We apologize if there's any miscommunications from the other store being affiliated with this location. So here's the other question, and I think I saw Christian Brown from 13 ABC come out in support of the other Monette's locations, but other people are saying, no, it's all one family, the money's all going there, I'm not going to any of them. Charlie, are you on the side of not going to any of them, or just not going to the one on Reynolds that they're saying that's the one the guy owns?
For right now, for sure. I don't want any. If he gets a penny of $1 from another store, I'm not going to another store. Period. Point. And also, if you don't want me to stop going to the other stores, then that statement is not enough. He didn't wake up today. First of all, I know who these are my family. Everybody in the Z family knows, okay, Andrew, he's a certain way, or whatever. So everybody in the Monette family, they knew that this guy was like that.
Right.
And I know the stores are different, whatever. I look at the logo. I look at the name. It's all the same. And so you distancing yourself from him today, I get it. And, if something bad happens to good people, I'm sorry. Like someone pointed out earlier, everybody who got a residual check from the Cosby Show took an L when Bill made a fool of himself. When all Bill Cosby stuff came out, Claire, Theo, everybody on the show lost money.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is all locations benefited from that logo for all these years. Well, if you're going to benefit from that logo and that name and that store and everything, well, when one does bad, you're going to have to take the fall with the other ones now as well, right? I mean, you can't all be together all these years. Oh, we're all Monettes and we're family and we're this and that. Oh, but that guy is crazy once it comes out. I mean,
if he's that much of a different person and separate entity or whatever, then I want to see what the other locations within their power, which they do have some, within their power, what are you going to do to shut him down? Are you going? Is there something legally you're going to do to strip him of the Monex name? Are you going to do everything that you can to make sure that he is no longer in business, because he cannot be in business another day?
Wow. All right, Sugar, go ahead.
Well, shoot, I've just been listening. I haven't been thinking about it.
Go ahead, Tifa.
No, okay, I still have it.
Okay, so the floor. Go ahead.
I think that absolutely that post that you read, where he was like target practice, that one is absolutely over the limit, beyond the line, unacceptable. That's gross. Anything that ever calls for violence physically grosses me out. But I guess it's just interesting to me, and I'm not arguing the point. I'm just putting it out there. The other, listening to anything that you say, if you are, unfriend me. And I hear that a lot on both sides. And if that's how we're going to talk to each other, nothing will ever get fixed. The other thing that I was thinking about is the Overton window, which is when you talk about what socially acceptable speech is. If you go outside either way of it, you're canceled, basically. And he was definitely critical of Black Lives Matter, and he said a lot of things that I do not agree with. But I don't know that it's unacceptable for him to have that opinion, either so that someone can change that opinion for him or have a discussion about it. But I don't know that he expressed anything other than the one about shooting people, because that one was crazy bad. Yeah. Beyond that, I'm like, what's insane here?
But I don't think you can pick and choose. If that goes with
he
the
literally
other ones,
said, "If you disagree, delete me. I don't want to hear your bullcrap." Like he's not. You can't change his mind.
No, well, my point is that I have so many friends on my timeline who are liberal who say the exact same thing.
But the difference is
that's not the problem.
But the difference is you're not saying that Jewish people are bad and then serving the Jewish community. That's a big difference when you have a business that you're doing that with, that you're disrespecting people that you take their money every single day. And go ahead, Gina, what?
We are 5 white people, and that black man that we are talking to right now just said it was offensive. We cannot tell him it was not. Let's just start there. He gets the last say in this. He said it was offensive. There's no more arguing that. It's offensive, period.
But it's still a conversation. Go ahead, Chuck.
And it's I mean, your opinion, and I get what Sugar was saying. Your opinion, it can be your opinion or what have you. Like I said, you can feel how you want to feel. There's consequences that come with it, good and bad, whatever. But like you said, once you say the target practice thing,
that one was beyond.
So,
yeah.
But the target practice thing was so bad, it negates there is no other argument to be had, or there's no other point to be talked about. There's no other post to be talked about. I don't care what he posted before or after or since, whatever. It doesn't matter. Once you say you need target practice, you have to go. You are not going to talk about violence towards the group of people.
Right. And I definitely agree with you there. I think I had just heard a lot of the other tweets before I even heard about that one. And I was like, oh, this is bad, but not canceled, bad, but not canceled. But yeah, that target practice one is completely over the line.
Go ahead, Tifo.
So I had a question for Charles here. You were talking earlier about Manette's, they're all connected because of the brand. They all benefit from the brand and everything, whether or not their finances are separate or not. Which I get, and it makes sense. But what is your view on, say, like franchised of like large corporations, like a franchise McDonald's or Burger King or Wendy's or something, where a manager or an employee in that franchise that, it's benefiting from the corporate logo on that sort of thing, but they have like a binding contract they have to abide by, so they can't necessarily pull out on there. And that particular franchise might do some messed up stuff, or the owner says some messed up stuff. Would you still be like, I'm not going to Wendy's, period, if this, said something similar? If this franchise,
I think that with something like a McDonald's, which is so big, it's a different dynamic. However, if McDonald's on 123 Street, if that is a franchise McDonald's and it does something like this, I would like for the other McDonald's, the franchisees, and the McDonald's Corporation to shut them down, period. And would I boycott the other McDonald's until they shut that one down? Hell yes. I would boycott. That one could not stand. So with this,
I mean, I would expect corporate to step in and like
Yeah.
clean out management, put in new management or something like that.
Like, you remember a couple weeks ago there was that Wendy's, and there was that one operator that was donating like $200,000 to the Trump campaign, and so people were like boycott Wendy's, and Wendy's like, no, that's not us, that's that guy,
Right.
that's that guy. And I guess with that, I mean, you could disagree with Trump and not. I was saying the corporation still has control over those guys. They could say, hey, you can't be doing stuff like that. So I mean, you could actually boycott the other ones.
I really want to add something to this.
Go ahead.
Okay, so when it comes to the Monettes, they are independently owned by different family members. They profit only off of the business they own. It doesn't go into a pool or anything like that. And the other thing is that Linda, the owner of Secor, and Mark, the owner of Glendale, are both them advocates. Charlie, on Julian Mack's page, he makes sure to point that out. They are both advocates for the Black community. They go to bat for the Black community. So I can't tell anybody what to do with their money, but what I can say is that we might want to take a couple steps back because we don't want to alienate allies either.
But like Charlie said, though, well, then they need to do something. They need to rein in that guy. They need to pull him out or shut him down or do something.
For sure. And then Glendale also said in the comments, it wasn't in their initial post, but in the comments, they did say his comments were, the John Monette's comments were insensitive, immature, and downright shameful. Please understand those opinions don't reflect ours. So they went in a little bit harder in the comments. I don't know that matters to anybody, but I'm just letting you know that they did take it a step further in the comments also.
And it makes it hard because if you have the other two locations that are really supporting Black Lives Matter and in the cause, and you got this one outlier, it's like, again, do you boycott? Charlie, I'll go back to you. I know originally you said you boycott all three until they take care of the one. Is that still the same way you think that it should be handled?
I am not going to any of them at all. And I saw what was on Julian's page, and I got that, and I get it. I want them to do whatever they, like I said, whatever they can. I know that legally, there's things that you can and cannot do, but is there a clause in the contract with the name that you have to be a certain way, you have to have a certain code of ethics or whatever, whatever it is, call him on it, pull him on it. First of all, and I'm okay, if they're independent, that's great. That one is done. And like I said, for me personally, I'm done with the other ones for now. And I go to Monette's. I frequent the other Monette's. My family members, I got family members who hang out with their family and this, that, and the other. Trust me, I get it, but I'm done.
Well, and the other thing too is there's always in a contract, there's a morality clause. I mean, not always, but most of the time there's a morality clause.
Andrew knows all about the morality clause.
What's that? Yeah, I know a little bit about that, Charlie.
Shit, that means I can never sign a contract in my life.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. All right. Thank you, Mr. Welch. I appreciate it. Charlie Welch, thank you so much, man. I appreciate your input.
I appreciate y'all.
It was definitely needed tonight. Thank you, my friend.
I'll get you a bag of just the Lucky Charms, though. I'll sneak that out for you.
Bye-bye. So there you go. That's I think that was a very valuable input. He's not going to any of them, and I think that's where the split is. Are you going to go to the other two, or are you going to make the other two either prove in some way to the public that there's no financial gain for the third, or you boycott the other two until they do something about that third?
Yeah, this is why I'm conflicted on it, though.
It's a hard one. This is a hard one.
I heard that the Monettes has just the straight bags of Lucky Charms marshmallows, and that's all they are. And I've been trying to convince myself not to go, and I've been successful. But I've started breaking down on it lately and like slowly driving by the Monettes, and everything. And I'm really close to pulling into the parking lot, but now I'm conflicted.
You know what's even worse than that, Tifo, is that the one on Glendale, that's right by me, they have bacon like 2 for $5 a lot of times. That breaks my heart, my fat heart, my clogged artery heart. It's so sad.
I've been driving by that Monettes on Glendale like a jealous ex-girlfriend.
But if you need your veggies and you don't want to go to Monette's, if you've never been to Ciolino's, they are the best. They're so
I
awesome.
love Ciolino's.
Is that place that's up on Lewis?
Everyone
Yes.
knows about
Across
it.
the
Yeah,
border?
everyone knows about it. Yep, right over the border. So I
Not
don't know.
everybody does. There's like few people that did not know that I
Really?
saw on my timeline. Yes, isn't
Oh,
that
wow.
crazy?
Yeah,
I love that place.
Stuff you didn't know.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, there's that. Well, I think that there's still going to be more coming out on this story. I just saw that there's a protest scheduled for Thursday out there. So there's going to be more to come from this thing, I
Who
think.
was doing the protest?
People that are pissed off.
Sir Major's heading it up.
Oh God.
Okay.
Oh,
Andrew, see if the phone's ringing right now.
it's not. Why is he calling you on the phone?
Because he doesn't, Sugar, he doesn't read.
I told
Jesus.
him. I told him.
That's why we interrupt you.
I
so-
know his Zoom thing wasn't working. I sent it in the chat. You're just chit chatting away, not reading anything.
Robert, you there?
I'm on.
Hello, Robert.
How are you?
Turn him up.
Well, good. Can you speak into the other end? Flip the phone over. Speak into the other end so we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
You just had to turn the phone
All
over.
right.
I mean, I know both those sides are tricky. They look the same. It's okay.
He says the same thing to Colleen all the time. Speaking to the other end.
Shut up.
Oh, Jesus.
All right.
Whoops.
So we have from one guest to the other. This guest is very exciting as well. He's an artist. We've had him on before. If you remember, he did the restaurant bingo, which not only was done in Perrysburg, it was done in Toledo, but it was also done. There were other places nationwide that contacted you about that. Correct, Robert?
The bingo, I did the giant coloring pages.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of Thomas. How dare you? Do you think all gay people look the same? God damn it!
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes, they do.
Yes, he did the
Come
color.
at
No,
me,
he did
bro.
the giant. He did the giant coloring pages. His work has been up a lot at the Perrysburg Library, and I'll kind of let him tell us about what he's doing now.
Yes, please tell us.
Well, so what I've done is I combined my collection of Black History Month pieces, which is about 60 pieces, and they're about 6 foot by 4 foot, and we're kind of taking them from town to town and hanging them on the business windows, because of course all business windows are about 6 foot by 4 foot, and they match my pieces. And as an act of solidarity and to raise awareness about Black history and Black American figures, like people can kind of walk throughout the town, the stores get involved, and do a little write-up on the person. And it's a good way to open up the business after the COVID shutdown as well, especially considering what's going on. And so
I love the
interest with Toledo.
I love the idea. You've done it in Sylvania. You've done it in Perrysburg, correct?
Yep.
And so,
and now I'm talking to get it done into my mommy. And they actually were at the college down at Tiffin this last December through February, and I just heard Columbus is interested.
Oh wow, man, that's awesome. So what made this important to you to do?
Well, it was my response to racism that I encountered and witnessed when I moved back to this area, and it was just at a way different level than I was used to, and from where I was living, how I was living, it just wasn't tolerated to the point where it was here. And like as an artist, I just figured like everyone could just use a little bit of education, because I was just so tired of calling everybody out and being like, well, do you know? And I figured a painting's worth 1,000 words, and I'm an artist, so why not focus my energies there?
That's awesome, man. I love it. And what is the feedback? What has the feedback been?
Well, it's kind of tricky seeing that I'm white, but I don't believe it's Black people's job to educate other white people on like history that they missed out on, which could make them be judgmental or erroneous in their beliefs even. So I had to self-fund this and do it on my own time and push it. So people really do honor it, and once it's in a collection, the feedback, it's palpable walking down the street and seeing all these faces of all these great Americans looking at you,
Well, and here, Gina...
And to
I'm sorry. Gina said something to me that was interesting a few weeks ago when there was a protest in Toledo, and I was out of town. And I said, Gina's whose daughters are black, half black. Their dad's black, and I said, Gina, it's important that you take your kids to one of these things so they can experience it. And she said, actually, it's important to take your kids to one of these things so they can experience it because those are the ones that are really need to make the change. And it was so true. Go ahead, Christy.
Right.
I was actually curious. So, I didn't really know if I heard right. So, are you working with the restaurants on these, or is it Is it like guerrilla style where I come to open up the restaurant in the morning and boom, giant picture of Rosa Parks?
Yeah.
On my window.
I take the hell out of your store.
that I can't remove now because of the national tone.
No, I work with some amazing. I work with some amazing women.
It's actually it's actually a great idea, Robert. You just force it on them. Just stick it there, and it's like, okay, you can pull it down if you want to be a racist. Go ahead, let's see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it definitely puts up a narrative in the town, and it definitely shows the people a response. Sometimes, if it's not a response, it's actually a response when you have full participation, right?
That's true.
But I work with some amazing women that make these calls, organize these things, create studios in Perrysburg and the Redbird Historic District. Made all the calls, all the connections, made all the printouts, the library there, people's grandmas helped out. It's just been a huge community involvement, and everyone's so excited about it.
How many?
Unless you're a racist.
then they're really pissed off about it.
Yeah.
How many?
Wait to hear about the critique.
How many pieces do you have?
Come again?
How many pieces do you have?
About 60. And two, it's cool because when they're up like that, it kind of shows that democracy, it's democracy in pictures. It shows that history in progress is an ebb and flow. It's not linear. There's these back and forth, these gains and these losses, and you can see it through Satchel Paige playing through the Negro Leagues, all the way to having Tina Turner or Beyonce or Michael Jackson or Elijah Cummings, or you can see who influenced who lived during the Emmett Till generation, what that did,
Wow, that's awesome.
It's really great. It tells of many stories when it's together, of the Montgomery bus riots with Rosa Parks, Claudette Colvin, Martin Luther King, Coretta Scott King, Ella Baker. I'm missing Bayard Rustin, but he's coming up.
Very cool. Gina, go ahead.
So I wanted to tell you, Robert, because there's another element to this that I don't think you probably don't get to see or hear. So I want to tell you a story. I didn't know who you were. And when Sugar told me you were coming on tonight, I said, "Oh my gosh, is that the guy whose artwork was in Perrysburg?" And she said, "Yes." So I want to tell you, we went to Perrysburg to grab some dinner. I had my daughters and my girl's dad with me, and Perrysburg has what do you call it? A pretty bad reputation when it comes to racism. So
I was going to say bad reputation.
It is pretty bad reputation. So anyways, we're driving through, and I look up and I start noticing your artwork, and I know that there had been a protest earlier that day in Perrysburg, and so my kids, I said, "Oh my gosh, look at the windows, you guys!" So they start looking up. And it was such a proud moment for my girls and for my boyfriend to look up and see all of these beautiful black faces staring back at them, so huge. It was such a loud statement to my family, and not from Perrysburg. Although I'll give Perrysburg props because they did do that.
No, for real, for Perrysburg, right on.
But for you, thank you for giving them that moment where they felt like,
thank you.
There's a lot of ugly happening right now, and they're seeing it and hearing it, and to be able to look up and go, "Oh my gosh, look at these people standing with us." Thank you for that. Genuinely, thank you for doing what you do.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's great.
Oh, that gave me the chills.
Well, Robert, thank you so much.
I really appreciate it.
We're gonna have Sugar give you a kiss for all of us.
I'm gonna give you a lot more than that, Daddy.
Oh Lord! Oh Lord!
Oh Lord!
Oh Lord!
Get your penicillin shot
better
now.
be a Philly cheesesteak. Thank you guys for taking your time to interview me and giving this show some recognition, because it really deserves to be seen by everybody. I feel like when we push via art, it moves more and it moves harder and it moves quicker. And a picture is worth 1,000 words. And so just thank you guys so much.
Robert, where is it? Where is it right now that we can see it?
Downtown Sylvania, all the way through July 3rd. Go down there, and
Cool.
I have a pop-up shop right by Hudson Gallery. It's the old Eden store. All my work's up there, and it's throughout the store, down through House of Hymn, down through Element, down through the Fifth. What's that pub down there?
Fifth Street.
The 5.
Oh, inside the 5. Okay, yeah.
No. Hell no. And then inside 5 is where it's at.
All right, real quick, Gina, go ahead. Quick.
Do you have any pages or a Facebook page everybody can go to like, or a website that everybody can visit?
Yes. Instagram. If you follow along on my Instagram, when you're down there, you can actually get like a tour of each of the faces, and then you can kind of look, and I've linked it to and it's Robert David Vanetbelt on Instagram. You don't want to follow my Facebook. I have tons of opinions. Instagram
Instagram is focused on the art, and there's just, like you said, the tour. There's just so many things that you can do with this. I just think it's great, man. I think it's great. Thank you so much, Robert, for taking time to share it with us.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you guys so much.
All right, my friend. Bye-bye.
Yeah,
There it is.
take care. Bye-bye.
There's Robert. That was very cool. All right. Wow, what a busy show. All right, before we get out of here, a couple things. Jeez. What was I going to say? Today, star Jenna Bush Hager shared the unexpected nickname that her kids call her. My house is going crazy tonight. What is the nickname? I don't even know. I can't find it. I don't care right now. Lisa Kudrow says she doesn't watch Friends because she hopes to someday revisit it with her co-stars. Which is funny because in this household, I just told the girls, I said, let's start watching Friends, because they've never seen it, and I've never seen it. Colleen's the only one in the house that's watched. I've seen an episode here and there, but I never followed it. So I think we're going to start picking Maisie and Kensley, the girls with their ex, or with my ex, they picked up Modern Family from the beginning. They've been watching that. So now I want to pick up. I think Friends is a good one.
Mr. Man. Mr.
Man, is that what they call her? Why do they call her Mr. Man?
I didn't look that up. I just looked up the nickname.
So Jenna Bush Hager, who's of course one of the daughters of the Bush twins, of former President Bush, said they call her Mr. Man.
What are we talking about?
The Bush twin. They call her kids call her Mr. Man as one of her nicknames.
That is the lamest story we've ever discussed, possibly.
He said Mr. Man isn't the first unusual nickname Jenna has had. In her 20s, her dad called her the Secret Service code name for her, and her twin sister Barbara was a dude. I don't care. God,
wasn't it the Drunken Twins?
I don't even. Denny commented and said, "Hey family, I miss y'all except Tifo." That's way more.
Do you have any other comments before we go, Gina? Let's just wrap. I can't do it. I do want to say comedian D.L. Hughley passed out on stage this weekend, and has got the Rona.
Oh my God!
But he didn't pass out because he has the Rona, though.
Oh, he didn't.
Something else happened.
Said he was dehydrated.
He had the Rona, but you know what's scary about that? He was in the middle of doing a show where he's like projecting his COVID breath all over a crowd sitting in front of him. That's
all over the microphone for the next guy to use.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, it's like too. Like if I run a karaoke service, like I run a karaoke business. It's like, well, when can you even bring that back? They showed someone.
I think it's next week. Technically, you're allowed to.
But they showed someone
like Clorox wipe the mic.
Dude, I'm so weird about mics. Whenever I do like the karaoke for Andrew or with Andrew, like I will hold my own mic the whole time, and I won't let anyone else touch it because it makes watching people sing and watch their spit fly onto the mic. You will never want to touch another mic again in your life.
Any other comments, Gina, that we want to get to before we wrap up here?
No, I think we're good.
All right. Well, thank you guys.
Right. No, you made me save this for the show, so I'm going to say it this time and not be ignored again.
Go ahead.
Costco has same-day delivery.
That's a big.
Oh yeah,
that's super important.
Save it for Wednesday.
Okay, well it is to me.
Costco has same-day delivery. I ordered stuff on Saturday. I had it to my door in an hour.
What?
Wow.
How much does it cost?
Yeah.
No delivery fee.
No.
$35 minimum.
Oh my God! I'm never leaving my house again.
Sugar, you're going to die. You don't have to go upstairs anymore. You don't have to go grocery shopping anymore. Like, I'm really worried about you right now.
Sorry, baby. Bye. I'm gonna go out living my best life.
And it tracks it. So like you can track it on their website.
Wow.
So like your order's there, and you can add things until they start
Like
until
ordering
they go to
pizza,
checkout.
but groceries.
Oh yeah,
Crazy.
you can, it'll track it, and it'll be like the person shopping for your stuff, and you can still add things while they're doing it, and it'll keep track of what they've already found and what they're still looking for.
Mind blown.
And then and up until the point that they go to checkout, it'll let you add things to it. And then once they go to checkout, you're done.
It's almost like virtual. It's almost like virtual shopping. Like you're cracking them shop your stuff, and you can add stuff while they're like, okay, hey, add those olives in there too. I mean, just it's so crazy.
It's like I know this is on the other side of the warehouse. Let's add that.
Yeah, Gina, go
Give me a giant salmon and a hibiscus tree.
What if you buy?
So bring it to me.
What if you you just randomly buy a couch? Do they bring that to you within the hour?
It's only groceries.
Only grocery.
I was gonna say I don't have a Costco membership. I think I'm the only one here that does not have a Costco membership.
I do not either.
You need to upgrade your life, Gina.
Yeah.
And so I just don't. We went to Costco before, and I ended up buying like tons of stuff that I like. I have 900 coffee filters, you guys. I'm never running out of coffee filters in my life. So it just
Well, you
didn't
gotta
really
save those for the next toilet paper shortage.
But now that I know that, now that Tiefel just told me that, I have a plethora of toilet paper too, you guys. I do.
Oh yeah. Right now, I am on the last remains of the last roll of a pack of toilet paper I bought from Costco 2 years ago.
Oh my God. Let me tell you too about these Costco pickles. Does anyone like pickles?
Yeah.
Does anyone like pickles?
I do.
They look more like cucumbers, okay? And they're
that's why Sugar likes them.
They're like,
amen, honey.
They're like homemade, right?
Fresh scent.
So you open the plastic container that these pickles are in, and they look like cucumbers, and they have like a dill weed in there, and there's
yes. Oh my God, the crispy dill refrigerated pickles.
there's
How many are there? Because don't you? It's like bulk, right?
There's spices. Well, no, you can buy one jar, and there's spices in there with garlic, pieces of garlic and stuff in there, and you pull the best goddamn pickles you have ever eaten in your life.
I have dipped my bread in that pickle juice.
I bought pickles the other day. Sodium, and they were terrible.
Dude, you have to get
Nothing
pickles
beats
from
Tony
Costco.
Packo's Sweet Hot.
No, these
are better.
These are better.
Oh, all right. Okay, so sold. I'm buying a Costco membership.
Yeah,
That's it.
Pickles.
Talk to Colleen.
Pickles, toilet paper, and free delivery. Hell yes. I'm in.
And their gas got so cheap during whenever stuff was when gas was going down in price.
Yeah.
I paid $1.10.
Dude, if anyone mentions them one more
gallon
time, we're going to
at
send
their
them a goddamn
station.
invoice. We'll send them an invoice. I'm telling you right now. All right, this portion of the show brought to you by
Or at least a jar of pickles.
Twice But Nice. Yeah, send us some pickles or something. Twice But Nice retail shop. Gloss and Glam by Julianne, your Lip Sense distributor. Extreme Class Limousines. DMX Lawn and Landscape. RCI Interior Designs. We didn't get any of the sponsors in today, so we're too busy talking stuff. All right, you guys, that's it. We'll see you Wednesday for Chris Tiefel, Sugar Vermont, Gina, Southside Gina, Jake Dickey. Thank you guys.
Bye.
I'm Andrew Z. Bye, everybody. We'll see you Wednesday.
Deuces.